go into our last subject. This is going to be a kind of a powerful subject we're going to talk about. So we're going to have to really hit this one quick because we only got about a couple of minutes left. But this is What Should Christians Do? And today on What Should Christians Do, we're going to talk about the video that just came out recently that happened in June 2015 about the Austin police who had taken the young lady, the second grade teacher, and threw her on the ground. And the things that they said in the video, baby, start off with it.
Okay, cops body slam teacher says blacks have violent tendencies. The highlights of this story, the young lady named was Breon King, was pulled over for speeding in 2015. Video shows an officer throwing her to the ground, and the officer can also be heard making offensive statements about black people because black people have violent tendencies. So that's why they are afraid of our race.
And so what the man basically said is that he wanted to tell her why white people are afraid of African Americans because they all have violent tendencies. And so that can spark a lot of, divisiveness among the races. And so what I was looking at here is that we know that that's fuel to the fire. And we got Tracy over here. We may have to censor you today, but
she
we know that's going to cause some problems with that. But I'm going to start with Tracy because what I want to do is talking about on the side of both white Christians and African American Christians. What should we do in a situation like this? Tracy, what do you got to say?
I mean, before I say anything, very quickly, I want to say, and I guess I'm going back to the slavery days of where we were humbled. So how can we have such violent tempers when we were taught, unfortunately, to humble down our feelings and our emotions and all of that, So that part just ticked me off. I almost said a bad word, but that just ticked me off. So anyway, what was the question?
She ticked off.
So I just want to know, how do you think a Christian should handle this? I would say on the aspect of how, an African American Christian should handle this. And you got to be brief because we ain't got a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Go to somebody else.
Jeff,
I'm a little
Deacon
heated
Jeff,
up right now.
how do you think the Christian should handle this situation?
I guess I'm not a Christian.
The first thing we have to do, being on the short end of the stick, is not accelerate it.
Yes.
When you get stopped, no matter what he says or what he does, and I'm a victim. I get pretty upset when, especially injustice, but you can't accelerate it because he's already at the point. See, 2 minutes into the stop, you know what kind of person you've got. Mm-hmm. If you get a cop and he asks you, how was your day? Or, sir, do you know what you did wrong? Now, the average one of us ain't going to come ugly with him. He said two things. He said, sir, do you know what you did wrong? Mm-hmm. How was your day? Mm-hmm. Or he might say something about, did you see that light back there?
Right.
He's not going to come there, get out the car, give me your license and registration. Shut up.
Right.
So the reason why we get violent because you bring it. Mm-hmm. If you bring it, you're going to expect it back.
Yeah. Reverend?
Yeah, so I think you have to be proactive. Today we have to be smart. We see what's happening out here. Now, we know that that's just a fallacy, another thing that they made up. Mm-hmm. That's really all it is. And it's a trick of the enemy to help destroy us. So we're going to have to be smart in what we do, what we say, how we interact. We have to be intentional. We have to raise our kids the same way. Is it always right? Probably not. Do I like that when my son was 12 years old, I had to teach him how to drive a car and what to do? I started even then telling him if you pulled over, if you stopped, if you're in the car with someone, what you need to say, what you need to do, how you need to handle yourself. Yeah, I have to do that. And then now at 36 years old, how many times has he been stopped? Too many.
Yeah.
Over 25 times. Why?
Yeah.
So we just have to do that. We have to be smart.
Yeah.
That's a good point because our previous guest, Mr. Buford, was calling into the show, and he got pulled over by the cops. So he had to be smart, make any sudden movements or anything. But, I mean, it's kind of sad that this was a teacher, a female small frame lady that he body slammed. And the video don't show her resisting arrest or anything. He said that, of course, he feared for his life because she had her fist drawn. The camera didn't show none of that.
Can I go back to this too? And we do have to vote. we're going to have to be paying attention
Yeah.
to what's happening out here. And we have to get the right lawyers. We have to get the right judges. We have to get the right officers in place at the lower levels that are making decisions about who goes to jail, who gets out of jail. We have to be smart and get the right DAs in office and the right police officers in place. We have to be smart as a people. And maybe we've laid back on that, but we have to begin now to do that.
Yeah, and I'm going to just say this, as what should Christians do? We have to learn how to unite together. This is not a black issue. It's not a white issue. As Christians, we need to look at it as an issue that we need to say that needs to stop. If you have people out there that are thinking that and they're in law enforcement, as Christians, we have to show the world love and understanding. And so if you're in your church and you just say, well, this is not Christian, this is not me, then you're not showing the love of God. If you're an African American and you're saying, well, this is not going to happen to me, well, you're not showing the love of God. We've got to look at these situations and change the mindset of the people that are doing that. That's the only. The Bible tells us to go out in the highways and the byways. Well, this is the highways and the byways that we've got to go out. And so, as Jeff said, don't accelerate it. We've got to make sure not only we don't accelerate it, we've got to make sure that we come together and fight against it. Yes. As Christians, we have to say, I don't care what color you are, no one should be treated this way. And we've got to help them remove that negative thought process. And I will blame the television stations for always showing blacks in a negative light instead of showing African Americans that are graduating from college. You have kids that are graduating from college. Boys, like hundreds of them graduating. You don't want to say anything about that, but you are constantly showing these negative things. We've got to, as white Christians, black Christians, Jews, every Christian that you can know has to want to see this negative on TV, because if you see it on TV, you believe that it's true, and that's a myth and that's a lie, and we've got to change that. So that's what Christians should do today. We've got to come together and stop this. Jeff, real quick, what you got to say?
And unfortunately, with social media now, intervention, because it used to be news took a week or two to get to people. Now it's instant, and read books anymore. The only knowledge that comes from is social media.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. We're going to end it on there right there. Thank you very much for listening. Baby, what we got next?
Pulling into our the McCain train, pulled into the last stop. Next week, stay with us. Our future leaders and our children daycare is a topic, and tips on starting a marriage. We want to thank all of our guests, Kimberly Ray, for joining us on the next stop. Our dynamic duo over here, the Beckham family, and they not in London, they right here. We appreciate the deacon and the reverend joining us on our show. So we stay with us next week on the McCain train.
Yeah, this is Reverend Rick McCain along with my baby, my girl, my boo, Brenda McCain, Tracy Brown Howard, Tracy Howard. I dropped that. She told me not to say it. And Dion will be right back next Tuesday. Woo woo!